Hello and welcome to Archive Dive. I'm Terry Cadeau, a reporter with the Superior Telegram. Each month, we dip into the files on historic events, people and places in Superior and Douglas County with local historians. Today we'll dive into the tales of two talented Superior figure skaters with Teddy Meronek. Welcome, Teddy.
Hi.
Glad to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
Tell me a little bit about who we are talking about today.
Well, we're talking about two ice skaters who got their start in Superior, Wisconsin, and rose to national fame, almost international fame. Bess Ehrhardt and Bobby Specht.
Which one do you want to start with?
Well, I think what I'd like to start with is that, with history, the beginning of the story and the end of the story. So it's not suspenseful at all. You know where these people ended up at
Sure.
the end and where they started. But what I like is sort of the chance that these people took or that was provided for them that made what they did possible. And I think in Superior, that was the fact that the Superior Curling Club decided that finally in 1908, they needed a fit facility where people could curl and they could ice skate. It had been an organization in town since the early 1890s, and they had these rinks, I guess you could call them, around town that were not, not the best. And they finally decided we're going to build this facility. We're going to have, so many places that people can curl, and then we're going to have another portion of the building where people can ice skate. So they decided to build it on the corner of Belknap Street and Oaks Avenue. And it was designed by the man who designed the federal building, the old post office.
Oh, sure. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, so he designed that. And I think what this did is that this was really a nice facility, and there was an organization called were they the Tuesday Ladies Skating Club? They were the ones who used the skating rink most of the time, and they decided this was the perfect opportunity to have kids come in and learn how to skate. So they organized skating lessons. They got a professional from Duluth named Frank Sullivan. He had taught skating in Duluth for many years, and they coaxed him over to Superior. And Bess Ehrhardt, who's one of the people we're talking about today, her father had been a curler, and she had sort of grown up on ice skates.
Sure.
She wasn't the skater she would later become. She took up speed skating at first. And then there was Bobby Specht. He obviously liked skating, and he ended up there. And so this facility provided not only a space for them, but it provided a connection to people who could teach them what they needed to know, which that is it's like everything had to align. The stars had to align, but maybe they had enough talent that they could have gone on alone, but I don't know.
They would have needed like a pond to skate on.
Yeah. Yeah. And there were places you could ice skate in
Sure.
Superior, but there was no place else that they were going to teach you how to ice skate. And she was older. Bess was older by about 5 years, almost 6 years older than Bobby. So she started out first, and she had taught herself how to skate. And of course her dad curled, so she, was around that all the time too. But there was nobody there to show her how you did figure skating and what sort of tricks you could do figure skating. So she sort of taught herself, and I find this amazing, how to do cartwheels on ice.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're young, you'll take chances knowing you are invincible.
Sure. Yes.
But she said, I didn't know how to do it, but I wanted to learn how to do these tricks, so I just taught myself. Finally, these ladies had reached out to Duluth and found somebody to teach people how to do it in the correct way. And she also went over to Duluth once and this is kind of funny, she took skating lessons from the man she would end up being married to.
Oh.
So she came back to Superior, and she skated, and then she went to college. She went to UWS, which was, I'm not sure if it was the normal school then or if it was Superior State Teachers College, but she was going to be a teacher for one reason. She thought it'd be, nice to be a teacher, but you had summers off.
Ah.
And she wanted to travel because she wanted to find out about other places that weren't like Superior.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And so while she was in college, she found out that in Chicago they were offering auditions to audition for this skating show that they held at the Hotel Sherman in Chicago. They had a skating rink, a portable skating rink inside the hotel, like their ballroom or their dining room that they would pull out from under the bandstand, and they would have skating there. And so she ended up going down there, and the people who were running it were Roy and Ed Shipstead. She had met before. And then there was another man, his name was Johnson. I think it was the Shipstead and Johnson. It actually finally turned into the Shipstead and Johnson Ice Follies. So she went down there and she tried out for the chorus. They had a chorus of girls, and then they also had, couple skating and people who do individual routines. So she went back home and she didn't hear from them, and she thought, they're never going to give me a chance. And they called her and said they wanted her there. So she turned up and, got right to work, and they knew immediately that she was going to be a star. They said it was not only she was very good looking, but the way she wore her costumes, but she was willing to learn. And so she was in the chorus for a while, but then eventually she ended up being a solo artist, or she would be paired with Roy Shipstead, because he was also, all three of them, the owners were all good skaters. And so she ended up skating there, and they would bring in big band leaders like who was it, Woody Herman, and Glenn Miller, all these people to bring in their bands, and the people would skate to them, and then when they'd roll the skating rink under the bandstand, then they could use it for a dance floor. But then eventually they started the Ice Follies, and that's where her career really took off.
Sure.
Yeah, she became the star. She came back to Duluth in, I think, about 1937, 38. They had a big amphitheater in Duluth with a rink, and they would do an ice show every year. And she came one year, and it was absolutely sold out because everyone from Superior came to see Bess. And she was a big hit that night. And she skated all over the country. They were a huge, huge draw. That was the era of like Sonia Henney, who was a famous movie star on skates. And so everybody wanted to go to an ice show. And Bess apparently was very good at it. And she still did some of her old tricks. She would do cartwheels.
She would do. I was going to ask if she incorporated that when they saw that they went, yeah.
She broke her finger.
Oh, no.
But apparently she was used to that. But
while doing a cartwheel?
Yes, she did that. Yeah, landed the wrong way. But she was a daredevil, I guess. And she skated, in their show. And then in 1939, she made a movie, a Hollywood movie. It was called Ice Follies of 1939. And she starred in it with Jimmy Stewart and Joan Crawford.
Oh, wow.
And Sonia Henney had been in all these movies. And I think they thought this was, the wave of the future, ice skating movies. But I would love to see this movie because it was filmed in kind of the same way The Wizard of Oz was, that it's black and white until you get to Oz. And then it turns into color. And that's what they did with this. It was black and white until she does her big performance, and then it turns into color. And I don't know if there's a print anywhere. I would love to see it. They premiered it at the Palace Theater in Superior.
Nice.
And she skated for a few more years. She skated until about 1943. She and Roy got married. They didn't tell anyone for 2 years. They got married in 1936, and I don't think they announced it till 1938 because it was better if she was single, I guess. But she quit skating in 43, I think, and then she had a daughter in 44, and she never went back to professional skating. She taught skating lessons, and she lived in California, which I think is because she once said that Superior had winter 9 months out of the year and the other 3 months were cold.
I mean, compared to California, yes, fair.
And I suppose, why not? And I think she hurt her back, probably from all the tricks she had done. She had an operation and really didn't help it. Made it worse, so she couldn't teach anymore.
That's rough.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she died in her swimming pool. They found her one morning. She had drowned. So very sad.
Was she very young or still?
She was, let's see, she was 59, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But apparently she was She was quite good. I haven't seen any film of her. I've seen Bobby, but I haven't seen anything, haven't found anything on the internet yet, but
Mhm.
I'll have to dig into that and
I
see if
might
I
have to
can.
too. I wanna see
Yeah.
her now.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess she was they called her the Venus on ice,
Oh, wow.
and she was very, very attractive
I
and
bet Joan Crawford loved that.
probably, maybe Jimmy Stewart liked it. But, yeah, and she was another person that went to Central High School. I'm always amazed at the people who come out of Central High School, how talented and I don't know, they had a lot of ambition, I guess,
Maybe the
and
right teachers to motivate.
I don't know, and Bobby Specht, there's another guy,
Also Central?
also
Okay.
Central, yeah, 5 years after
Sure.
Bess, he was almost 6 years younger than she was, but he just started skating down at the curling and skating club, and, apparently people knew right away that this kid's got talent.
Mhm.
He was very, very, very good, and Bess had come back once to do they started doing, like, their own follies every year at the Superior
Oh, sure.
Skating Club, and the first one, Bess was in town, she came and she performed, and they gave her a couple solos, but she gave up one of them so Bobby could have a solo performance,
Oh my goodness, that's lovely.
and I guess that's when people realized how talented he was. It really his parents said that opened the door for him, and after that, he was invited to various ice shows, and then he started competitive skating. And I don't think very many people know that he was the United States men's figure skating champion in 1942.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive for
It's very
someone
impressive.
who skates at the curling club and
In Superior, yes.
you had to people the curling club now is a whole different story than it was
Sure.
back in 1908. They did not have refrigeration yet for the ice.
Oh.
So it had to be really, really cold out because they kept and so, you know what the building was like. I mean, I remember being in there in the winter. It was horrible. And that's when they had refrigeration for the ice or, But, in those days, I can't imagine what it was like taking lessons there, but they finally hired a professional. They hired Frank Sullivan, and he came over here, and Bobby, of course, benefited from that because Frank knew everybody in the business too, and,
Nice.
he saw this kid, and this kid's got talent, and he started out going to the competitions. There's a whole road that you have to follow in order to get up to the men's finals. I
Sure,
mean, they have
yes.
they have the novice, they have the junior, and in the late 30s, early 40s, that's what he did. He would go to Chicago and practice. He went to the University of Chicago for a while. He started here at UWS, and then he went to the University of Chicago, but he would go down there and take lessons. As I said, he won, like, the novice. The first time he didn't win it because it was in Philadelphia, and the 3 skaters who were competing for it, the judges for whatever reason, I don't know how this happened, but they each had the same score at the end. So they had to regroup and decide who was number 1, number 2, and number 3. So the young man who was from Philadelphia, where it was being held, of course, got number 1. So he won the medal. And then there was another guy, I don't know if he was from California, and Bobby was 3rd. And when they announced that Bobby was 3rd, the audience got up and booed because he had been so amazing.
That
Yeah.
the local audience of Philadelphia
Yeah.
were like, "Wait, no."
Yeah, and apparently right after that, they hold, like an Ice Follies in New York
Oh,
City.
sure.
They would always invite the winner from Philadelphia, and, they didn't invite the 1st place person, they invited Bobby instead
Huh?
because they thought he was so good, and he did go around and skate in various functions or, when people were having ice shows or that, but his parents were adamant that his first job was to finish high school.
Mm,
And he had people coming even at a young age, 16, 15, 16, 17 years old that wanted him to go professional, wanted him to
sure.
join the ice capades and things. And he said, his parents said, no, he's going to graduate from high school and then we'll see. But they had someone approach them. I don't know where he had been skating, but they said that he should go to Switzerland because that's where the best coaches and teachers were.
Fair enough,
And
sure.
they said, nope,
No,
he's got to finish high school first.
fair.
So he did, and then
Then he was a Central graduate, so he
Yeah, he can go anywhere.
got some of that magic.
He kept going up the ladder, he won the novice, and then he won the junior, and in 1941, he was scheduled to skate in the senior division, and that meant he would have been the United States figure skating champion, but he hurt his foot. And he was also entered in the doubles. He had a partner that he skated with. They won the bronze medal, but they probably would have done better if Bobby's foot hadn't been injured. But the next year he came back in 42 and he won the men's title.
Wow.
And the bad thing about this, even in 1942, the competition was supposed to be held in San Francisco.
Sure.
They were going to cancel it because it was right after Pearl Harbor.
Yep.
They moved it to Chicago. So at least he got his chance to skate for that title, and he won it. He probably would have gone to the Olympics in 44, but the Olympics were going to be in Italy that year, so they canceled them. I feel so bad about that. I think he could have been, he could have been a world champion maybe. I don't know what the competition was like in Europe, but he certainly could have.
Do because, yeah.
Yeah. So instead he enlisted in the Air Force, and I don't know how long he was in there, but he had some medical issues. He got out of that. And then he went and started skating for the Ice Capades. And he didn't know how long he was going to stay with them. I think he had his eye on the movies in California because he also moved from Superior to California. He lived in Hollywood. But he decided to stay with the Ice Capades. And he stayed with the Ice Capades until, oh my gosh, it was in the 1970s. I mean, he skated almost into his 50s, I think.
Wow. That's a long career for an ice skater.
I know.
Definitely, usually, typically a younger person's field. Yeah.
I have actually seen video of him ice skating. He skated on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Oh, wow.
There's a little bit more. It's when you look at that skating compared to what amateur ice skating is nowadays. I mean, it's a whole different planet. It's much slower and, not quite as risky. But of course, they did not have the equipment, the kind of skates and everything, and the training and the people to take care of you when you get hurt. I'm sure the level has gone up. I mean, it's so much better right now. But he was very good, and he was a very good-looking man. So he skated for them, and then he got back. He had skated with Donna Atwood for many years in doubles. I have a program from 1953 from the Ice Capades, and there's this big centerfold thing of them. They're going to be doing Brigadoon on ice.
Oh, goodness.
He and Donna did that together. So he did big, flashy performances like that, where they would do, a popular show or something and skate to all the music from it.
Put it on ice. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So he did that, and in 1961, Donna had been retired for a few years, but she came back because they had the opportunity to go to the Soviet Union to perform in Moscow. I think they were there about a month performing.
Wow.
And so she decided to come out of retirement, and they went there, and I guess thrilled the Russian audiences, who have some very fine skaters of their own. But then she went back into retirement, but he continued skating, and then I think he broke his foot. Maybe, and then he retired, but he continued to help them with choreography and training and that.
The Ice Capades?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So his parents were interesting. His dad was a dentist in town, Doc. He was Doc Specht, and his mother was from Duluth, and they were both very well educated. She had gone to Northwestern University and someplace else, and but what she did, she was called a speaker. If somebody had a musical performance or something, she would be the narrator.
Oh, wow.
And she also taught classes in that. So that's probably where he got his drama from as a skater. I don't know.
So I'm confused by what that...
like if an orchestra was maybe...
So she would kind of announce what the difference...
Well, yeah, or if there was a storyline to go with the music they were performing, she would narrate.
I wish they did that more now.
I know.
Very fun.
I guess she was very good at what she did and taught a lot of people.
I feel like that's a lost art.
Yeah. So they raised 3 boys, and one of them was Bobby. And they were very supportive of his career. It wasn't like they wanted him to be who they were.
Right.
I think they knew he was who he was. And I'm sure his mother, especially since she was a performer, got a big kick out of it. And she, especially when he was young, she would be the chaperone and she would go with him to all the performances and all the competitions. but I'm sure it thrilled her probably more than Dad, I don't know for sure, but yeah, so
Well, I'm glad nobody pressured him like, "Okay, good, you're good at skating. Go play hockey now."
yeah,
You know?
yeah. Yeah, you don't hear much in those days about hockey, in
Yet
Superior.
to come still.
There were still I mean, they actually had hockey teams who used the skating rink
Sure.
there at the curling club, and if anybody ever wants to see a great picture of Superior's curling club, I remember it. One year, I got a job there keeping score for the kids' hockey, and I used to borrow my dad's underwear, and he was never happy about it because I'd just sneak it back into the drawer after I borrowed it, and
Oh,
he'd say
no.
and then I pull it out and it smells like perfume. But it was so cold in there, and that was before they really started, eh, women's long underwear wasn't such a big thing, but so I had to borrow his, but, the little kids would skate and they'd fall down and the adults would come out and pick them up because they couldn't stand up by themselves. They couldn't get
Oh,
up by themselves.
goodness.
But if anybody wants to see just a wonderful photograph of that, they need to go to the Super One on Oaks Avenue because that stands on the site of the old curling club.
Oh, okay.
And where the carts are in the entryway at that far end of that wall, there is a fabulous photograph of what once stood in that place where the grocery store is now. So I'm glad they have that there. It is
That's
pretty
great.
important, not every city can say they have a, United States figure skating champion.
Yeah. Who was born on the spot of now a Super One.
I know. So, yeah,
They should have a picture of him in there.
they should. I've often said that Superior needs maybe to have statues of both Bess and Bobby because
I mean, that'd be pretty great.
they did reach amazing heights, the 2 of them,
Yeah.
and to think they just started out in that place on Oaks Avenue.
Bobby and Bess in bronze, that'd be great.
I think it would be. I've been proposing that for many years, but no one's listened to me, so I
Well,
don't
now
know.
we've said it online, so
Yeah,
like
yeah, they should do it, at least recognize him. I think they're both in local halls of fame.
oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah, but nobody remembers them anymore, and they did some pretty amazing things.
I mean, that's pretty incredible, the fact that he was so close.
I know, I can't imagine how disappointing that had been. Well, the other thing about the curling club too is that it was a curling club, and Bud Somerville, in his own right, took Superior and put it on the map. Somerville is the only non-Canadian team that's won the Scotch Cup in
Oh.
Canada. They were at one time. You know, I mean,
Is that the curling club?
yeah,
Oh,
they curled there, and he was when they did the exhibition before they made it a Olympic sport, that was Bud who took a team there. So, they have a lot to be proud of from that kinda scary building. No. It wasn't a palace, that's for sure, but it served its purpose, and there was also the Tuesday Ladies Skating Club that held on for years and years and years that met there.
mm,
So and they did the local ice volleys for the kids who skated in
yeah.
Superior every year,
Ugh,
and they were big extravaganzas every year,
mhm.
so it was not only the men, but it was the women who participated in this and made it something for the kids.
That's pretty fun. I
Yeah,
know I was never a big skater, my sister was more the skater, but I
mhm.
had fun watching her as a kid, and that's how I learned to read, is my mom taught me by laying out cards as we would wait for my
Oh,
sister's skating
really?
class to be done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, we had a skating
It
rink in
was
East
cold.
End, so that was good, and that was one of my you had to take FIAD
Oh,
classes, 2
sure.
FIAD classes when I was in college, so one
Figure
of them was
skating.
figure skating, yeah. And I learned a little bit. I always impressed my nieces and nephews that I could skate backwards. They thought that
See, I
was
got that far, and then I never progressed from that. I'm like, I could go forwards and backwards, and that was about it. My sister learned everything else.
Yeah. So they were impressed, so
So
it was very
I'm
good.
very impressed by that.
Yeah.
The fact that you could
Yeah.
do that, and
I
people who can do so much more than that, it's just like,
yeah.
how?
Yeah, but we always had a skating rink in East End, so
Sure.
that's what everybody did, skated at
Oh,
night,
we had some skating rinks in town.
Yeah,
My mother tells stories of going skating as a kid. Yeah,
yeah,
it was a
yeah,
thing.
yeah, but for most kids in Superior, before the curling club, it was, you
Less
know,
accessible.
maybe you'd have a local rink, maybe not, maybe you'd end up on the Nemadji River or something,
Oh boy,
that's where a lot of kids skated, so
something
yeah.
else. Well, hey, thank you for sharing these stories
Oh,
with
you're
us today.
welcome.
I think this has been a fun episode to imagine these fantastical skaters, seeing them in bronze
That would be nice,
someday.
yeah, yeah, nice to
I
talk
think it'd
about
be
them in
great.
summer too.
Yeah,
We have winter to look forward to and see. I think
exactly.
there are a couple young women in Superior who are working their way up to
There are a few.
Olympic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll have some possible
Yeah.
future.
That would be great, wouldn't it?
That'd be great.
Yeah, just keep following the tradition of Bobby and Bess.
Bobby and Bess.
Yep.
Cometh the superior.
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for listening to Archive Dive. New episodes are available monthly at superiortelegram.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you have a topic you'd like us to explore, please email me at tcadau@superiortelegram.com. That's TCADEAU @superiortelegram.com. Thank you very much.